Louisiana versus all y'all. Jarrett Roser here with senior Rummel quarterback Kyle Wickersham. The Raiders getting ready for a heck of a start to their playoff run as, a 4-5 matchup against the Catholic High Bears in Baton Rouge this Friday, a rematch of last year's state championship game. And Kyle, man, how have you been doing, and how's it feel to be back in the playoffs?
I've been doing great, and I'm excited, especially to play Catholic in the first round. Last year when we played them, the offense didn't have their best game, so I know the offense as a whole is really looking forward to it, and I know the defense is just hoping to do the same thing.
And I mean, this game, these two teams have met in the playoffs several times in recent years, and it has always been a really fun one. Last year was an absolute thriller at Tulane. And for everything that both of these teams accomplished this year, you guys have to start in the quarterfinals against one another. What's kind of as that playoff matchup unfolded last week and you guys saw, all right, Catholic is first up, what was sort of the mindset and the reaction that it was going to probably be another classic one right off the bat?
I would say the mindset definitely changed when we found out we were playing Catholic. Not only just like to play them in the first round, but it was kind of like, hey man, we beat Catholic. We're going into the rest of the playoffs with a lot of momentum. Catholic is not a fourth seed team. They're not. They played against the best teams in the state. I think with just this year being as crazy as it is, I think there's a couple teams that could have the number one seed. And it just happened that we're playing them first. So I think, this game is a quality game as last year's state championship game was.
How do you feel about where you guys are right now? Because I know you guys take the tough L against Brother Martin a few weeks back, but since then it seemed like y'all have had a completely different focus and momentum already to this point to y'all.
Yes, sir. No, the Brother Martin game was definitely a wake-up call for us. Ever since then, it seems like practice has just had a different feel to it. Guys are moving around, flying around. We never want to experience that feeling again. That was my first loss ever at Rummel as a starter, and that was a lot of other people's first loss as a starter. So, it really hit home and kind of showed us that, like, hey, you come out flat, you can lose. So, ever since that, we've had a different mindset, and we feel great going into this week. And, we've been having great practices, and nothing's really been changed about us since the last 4 weeks.
What was this year like for guys like you and Logan Diggs and Colby Fields and company coming back for your senior year after being a part of such a historic special? I mean, I talked to Donovan Kaufman about it a lot last year. It felt like a movie watching y'all unfold your way to the playoffs, right down to that crazy one to end it against Catholic. For you guys that, as a lot of those other players go off to start their college careers, were kind of the holdovers and the new very clear leaders to a lot of new faces in that starting lineup. What was sort of the mindset and the conversation like for y'all to come back from that and know that there were going to be big expectations for a new year again?
Yeah, the mindset was definitely just to keep, the foot on the pedal. We wanted to take the momentum that we had last year and bring it into this season. We also wanted to prove to everyone that, I know Logan and me especially wanted to prove, Rummel's offense is coming this year too. And we wanted to be a part of the reasons why we were winning this year. Kobe wanted to bring the mindset to the defense that, hey, we lost a lot of starters, but this is still Rummel's defense. Coach Monica is still the defense coordinator. He's still going to put guys where they need to be. And I think as a whole, the defense has stepped up majorly and the offense has improved tremendously this year. So, I feel like we're a much better we're much more balanced this year, and that's going to really help us in the playoffs.
What have y'all felt has been the biggest difference for the offense, particularly this year, compared to last year?
I feel like the biggest difference in the offense this year is that, we have every single player, every single starter on offense practicing every single day. Last year, we had a lot of nagging injuries on the team, and it was kind of like, guys who missed practice here, guys who missed practice there, and it just never felt like everyone was on the same page. And, And last year, you look back, we did come in clutch at times to pull off a victory and all that. So I don't want to discredit the guys from last year that much. We still had a really good offense, but this year it just feels like things are clicking a lot smoother and we're more consistent. I would say the biggest difference is that we're more consistent this year. Last year we would come out, score 40 points, and then score 10. This year it's 30, 30, 40, 40. And it just, people have more confidence this year.
For you come off of a state championship. You're a state championship quarterback from last year, and you go into the offseason and you work your butt off on a lot of things, work on your release and everything. What was that process like for you? What were some of the things that you really went into spring and summer with your mind on continuing to kind of progress your game, and how have you felt that for your role in that offense, kind of seeing the benefits of that as you got to the season?
Yes, sir. I would just say that, every single morning during quarantine, I wake up and go throw. And my mindset was, hey, last year was an icebreaker. Your first year ever starting at quarterback and all that. So I know what it was like to play in those big moments. I mean, I played in some of the biggest games I've ever played in my life, and just in one season. So I knew going into this year, I'm not going to see anything I haven't seen in my life. And, this year I had to bring that calm attitude, the confident attitude to the team and help lead the offense. And then also I wanted to just work on getting my motion down, getting it quicker. And that's one thing that I think I really improved on this summer was just, throwing to wide receivers before they break, putting the ball on the right side of which shoulder I need to throw it to. Just little things that make big differences in big games.
Have you seen that play out that way for you where it feels that much better, especially as you got further into the season and more comfortable into being back after what was certainly an offseason of a lot of work, but also an offseason that was really weird in all of its own ways? You felt it, though, the last couple months?
Oh, yes, sir, for sure. I go out there, and it's not so much, you have a couple bad throws. It's not, oh, man, this is just going to be an off day. How can I try to just get myself through this game? This year, it's more like, man, I know I can make that throw. I just got to go back out there and do it. So I would say, just working that hard during the off season, I know I can do it. So it's never a time of when, I start getting nervous or anything like that anymore. It's more of frustration, oh, let me just make this throw next time. So that's been the biggest difference this year, is just being confident in knowing I can do it and just going out there and making the adjustments.
And we talked some about a couple of the guys that people would remember from last year too, with Logan and Colby, but some of these other players have really stepped up. I know a guy that I put on a list this week of underclassmen to watch for breakout performances that maybe people don't know their names as much yet, but they probably will in the coming weeks. I mentioned Nick Howard, one of your great wide receivers. Who have been some of those guys that you've seen step into bigger roles and really kind of impressed you and make you proud of their progress as an older teammate?
Sir, I would say that the entire offensive line has really stepped up. Those guys, I think I must have had a game streak of 4 games where I didn't even get sacked. They're outstanding this year. I credit them to all my success because I always tell them, especially, they always make jokes about me, how I'm in the newspaper, but they're not. And, I tell them, I'm like, I wouldn't be in the newspaper if y'all weren't blocking so well this year. And I think that's been the biggest difference for me this year too, is, I can play so confident and know I'm going to have the time to make those throws because I know my O-line's busting their butts every single play. And so I would credit my entire O-line with just having breakout seasons. And then I would also credit, Nick Howard, obviously, leading all the receptions and all that. And then Tyler Cook, a slot receiver for us, he's been tearing it up. He's been catching touchdowns, making tough grabs. And then also another person that not many people know is Keith Robertson. And, he doesn't get as much catches and stuff, but he gets a lot of guys open. He runs his routes correctly. and allows Nick Howard to go over the top for the post and have a wide open touchdown, allow Tyler Cook to be wide open in the slot because they have to respect him on the outside. So, we have a lot of guys who are unknown to people, not big name, 5-star guys, but they're just as important.
Some of the guys from last year, have y'all heard from them as the playoffs approach, whether Coy or Donovan or Pig or anybody? Have they kind of touched base and said, go do y'all's thing?
Oh, yeah. Well, Donovan's the first person on Twitter to bash someone's projections against us. He's been a big supporter for us. And, Coy texts me after every game. I like to send him the stats and all that because it seems like this year I throw for more yards in one game than I did all last season. So I like to joke around with him, and he's like, oh, man, like if we were having that type of offense last year, it would have been crazy. So I like to joke around with him a lot about that because we do throw the ball a lot this season, which last year we didn't have to because we had such a good defense that we just had to run the clock at it.
Yeah. Coy was just holding y'all back. No, obviously I'm kidding.
Yeah, Coy. Yeah, good. They didn't want to throw when you have a wide receiver like Coy.
Knowing that you're now getting into your last couple of games of high school ball, has that hit you at all yet, or that'll all come after it's over?
Yeah, I try not to think about it as much as possible, to be honest with you. I try to play games in my head, telling myself, hey, like if we keep winning, you still have a month left. But in reality, like one of our guys texted in our senior group chat today, he's like, guys, like you realize that this is it. Like it's over after this. Like all this work that we put in, because especially with quarantine and all that, it felt like we were working out forever. And, coaches had to jump us a couple times. And because we got such a routine of practice, the same drills, the same plays. And our coaches always told us, like, guys, we're going to have a season, I'm telling y'all. And so just like to fight that through that adversity together and, just have that feeling of going back on the field was amazing. And it's just been a weird year, and it feels like it just flew by. Like even with just all that, it's like it just feels like we just got started with the season.
Yeah, it has been very quick, and now we're getting ready for playoffs.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, man. Well, as you know, I expect to be there with you all on Friday for that huge one of the top matchups in the state, if not the top matchup in the state, and appreciate you taking a couple minutes to kind of chat about everything and paint that big picture as we get ready for it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Kyle. Again, he's Kyle Wickersham, senior quarterback from Rummel, the reigning Division I state champions, getting ready to start their playoffs against the 2019 runners-up, Catholic High of Baton Rouge, for Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser.